We've got an awesome series to get things started, folks. Welcome to the Manila Qualifiers. We're in the main qualifiers now. We're starting in China. I'm Zyori, he's Luminous, and we've got a good one coming up here on BTS2. It's CDEC versus Vici, the team that actually made it out of one of the qualifiers. Should be interesting.
I mean, at the past, when you say the team that made it out of the open qualifier is kind of a joke.
Yep.
Like you think they'll be eliminated, but then, TI5, CDEC, the actual CDEC taught us that you never sleep on any teams.
Yep,
So,
especially those that come to the qualifiers.
Exactly. They have that drive, man. They have the heart.
The heart. Absolutely. So do you have predictions coming into this? I mean, Vici has been kind of hot and cold, to put it lightly, I
More
guess.
so
recently.
cold than hot.
Yeah. But it's still a lineup where you look at those names, and it's hard to imagine a world where that team doesn't have an opportunity
Yeah, that's the
to
thing,
shine,
right?
you know?
I see the names of these teams. Sure, maybe like the new team has been formed. It's a bit rocky. I hope that they do very well, because when I see a roster with Burning and ROTK,
Yeah.
these are old veterans.
Sylar,
so,
yeah. All right, well, let's take a look at this draft here. This is game number 1. This is a best of 2 series, or a 2-game series, as some people prefer. And do we have Dota sounds here? Are you hearing any Dota sounds, Lumi? Let me make sure we're...
I don't.
Okay, I don't yet either.
Oh my goodness. I already want to get into this draft.
All right.
Because there's an axe.
Oh my god, you're right. And a first pick's axe at that. So Alchemist Bounty Hunter banned out by Vici, and the Beastmaster Tide taken out by CDEC. First pick Doom, not surprising, but I'm really surprised to see Axe prioritized so much here.
So the big change of this patch for Axe is 2 major things. His spin, counter helix now does pure damage, and it goes through BKB. Used to be that Axe, after a certain stage in the game, he gets nullified because everybody picks up huge values of armor. Like, imagine the enemy team having Vlad's, AC. I mean, you could call them, but you actually don't do any damage.
Right.
Now that's changed. You actually do hurt some. The other big change is Blade Mail, also going through BKB. And when you call people that have very low value armor, let's say Doom here, and he attacks you back, you reflect physical damage back to Doom, and it hurts. It really hurts. So, Vici Gaming obviously values the hero a lot first picking it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the hero's that good, but I like the fact that they have a ton of confidence in this hero.
Yeah, and he's still that kind of traditional hero that can snowball out of control if he takes over the game. If he gets a couple kills in the lane, still very good in pretty much any melee matchup. And if he goes for Vanguard Blink and gets it really early on, he's hard to kill, and he's super mobile, and of course he's got the lockdown with Berserker's Call. The beginning of a good team fight lineup. Axe and Phoenix, some control, some big AoE damage as well. It seems to me like this patch is really revolving around team fight. We talked about Lich coming into this, still haven't seen him in this draft, but heroes that can bring something to the table in those mid-game team fights seem really powerful right now.
Yeah, also, I mean, obviously there's a lot of map changes throughout, and Lycan ban being taken out. A couple of Chinese teams have been really favoring Lycan. Sylar being one of the better Lycan players. In fact, I think he has like an over 60% or even 70% win rate with the hero.
Wow.
So they do take the hero out.
Yeah, not the most fun hero to play against.
No. Because you just watch him maul down your buildings.
Yeah. And Enchantress, she's still pretty darn good as well. It feels like teams have really figured out how to play against Enchantress, though. Heavy magical burst is one of the best ways to deal with her in the lane. Heroes like Zeus, for example. She's fallen out of popularity, but still there. I think the Hurricane Pike it feels like that was an item just designed for Enchantress almost.
I am somewhat surprised that they did take out the Enchantress. Obviously, it is a strong hero, but you have Axe, man.
Yeah.
I mean, Enchantress, her HP pool is already very low to start with. After a couple of hits, she's already in your dunk range. So I'm surprised for them to take it out. Maybe they're protecting their safe lane carry. The other thing that I'm somewhat curious about is where does this Axe go, right? We've seen offensive tri-lanes in the past. We've seen it as off lane. We've even seen it in jungle and more like pub-esque strategy. So I'm curious. This feels like an ROTK Axe because ROTK has that kind of personality. You just want to go in and taunt as many people as possible. We'll see.
Yeah, it'll kind of depend on how CDEC round out their draft as well. I think the key with Axe is try to match him in a melee matchup, as we were talking about. So sort of depends on what CDEC want to do with the Doom. We've seen a lot of flexibility with that hero, sometimes on the position 4 in the jungle, boots first, rotate around, also just in the off lane as kind of a classic off laner. And he can also play safe lane, especially if you use something like an aggro try. Very, very flexible pick.
But I'm glad that you brought up that you want Axe to match up against melee, and that's why most teams hide it towards the end. When you do see that Spectre or Juggernaut in the safe lane, you're like, okay, I'm going to throw my Axe there and get a good matchup. When you pick Axe so early, they're going to switch to more of the range core, so that's why I'm not such a big fan of the early Axe pick.
That's a good point.
The Invoker adds more team fight to what you brought up earlier with the taunt egg combo. Now you even have like Tornado or Meteor. It's really nice for mid game with Axe because once you get that blink call, you know the Sunstrike's coming, and that makes dunks so much easier to come by. The earlier dunk that you could get in a team fight, it makes the rest of the team fight much easier because of the movement speed boost that you get. So I really like this pairing quite a bit.
Yeah, a lot of fire damage coming out of the Vici side. Now, CDEC going to have some time to think about it here. They did ban out Medusa as their fourth, another hero that I think is quite strong on this patch, again, just because she does bring some team fight to the table with that ultimate. And of course is the hard carry that we've all come to love and enjoy and remember. And there's the Lich.
Okay.
Nice
That's a
lane
hero.
dominator. Yeah.
I wonder where Lich is going to go, as it always comes down with Lich. He's a strong lane dominator. I think if Lich goes to the mid lane for a while to help out whatever the mid hero is, to just sap away the Invoker's experience, he's going to have a real tough time.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've only cast a couple of games in North America since the patches hit, but it seemed like Lich was focused mostly around the mid lane. He was really heavily prioritized in that day of BO1s that I was casting for Canada Cup. And every team was really liking the Lich, and it seemed like there was a lot of focus just on the mid. It almost became a dual lane more often than not, with supports rotating through, controlling runes, all that stuff. And now Vengeful Spirit here for Vici.
Yeah, actually the first minute, the zero spawn the bounty rune, not giving the 100 experience, that hits Invoker pretty hard, because obviously he's very EXP dependent hero, especially now if Lich is going to the lane to take away his range creeps EXP. So I wonder if you even give Invoker the first bounty rune, because it gives you 100 gold now. Maybe you want to give it to a core that's, let's say, rushing a Blink or a Midas. We'll see how the teams do divvy up. I think when I was doing the patch log analysis, there's this big debate. Like, you still want to give it to the mid because mid is, let's say, bottle rushing.
Right.
Some people are saying, no, you give it to the carry because he's Midas rushing. And now, because there isn't that 100 experience factor in it, I think there's more of an interesting debate. It used to be that you always just give it to your mid, because mid is,
Yeah. And Dragon Knight now for CDEC, so a little pushing prowess added to their lineup here. And another stun.
Okay. I'm not sure if DK is a great pick in this scenario. It used to be that DK is a strong counter pick to Axe. I talked about the fact that Axe has a ton of trouble dealing physical damage in the late game. But now, once you call Dragon Knight, especially when Blade Mail turned on, I think DK might have a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, Dragon's Blood is really not so strong against Axe anymore. That's a great point.
With that said, though, this CDEC team is just mightily tanky, right? You have Doom, DK in the front line, Frost Armor and everybody. Once DK is sieging at your towers, you really need to rely on that big AoE to repel the push.
Well, it looks like CDE, both teams thinking hard carry is going to be the final pick here, so probably a sign that it's the off-lane Doom, Dragon Knight mid, and we'll see what CDEC grab for the safe lane. The Lifestealer.
All right.
Well, a lot of Blink Dagger carriers between the Dragon Knight, Lion, and Doom potentially. So I can see the synergy there with the Lifestealer. Especially on Dragon Knight, if he goes Shadow Blade, a great way to initiate with the Dragon Tail and Fest Bomb and do some damage from there.
Yeah, the other big thing is you could Rage and then just go for the egg. Like, there's very little way for Vici to protect it. I mean, I guess you could use Berserker Call to taunt, but...
Or swap, that's about it.
Or swap. Assuming that those spells haven't been used. So you normally do start the fight with Berserker's Call. So, I think it's one of the big reasons why they pick Lifestealer is to deal with the egg. The other nice thing is that the Armlet got buffed this patch. Extra 5 armor, so hey.
Well, and Lifestealer also just got a nice buff himself. His strength growth was increased from 2.4 to 3.0, which is actually pretty significant if you think about how much that scales over the course of a game. So he's just a little beefier now as well.
I don't know. I feel like you're picking another melee core into Axe. Like, you touched on it earlier. Now Axe only gets a fairly decent lane to dominate early on.
Yeah. And like you said, Axe is also just very good against the BKB effect that Lifestealer has. He's one of few heroes that can actually control the uncontrollable.
I'm not sold on this Lifestealer pick, but I like to see teams, trying things out. So
yeah, they do have a lot of team fight around him though. A lot of magic damage with the Lich and the Lion, and a decent amount of stuns and controls.
Yep. So Vici looking to pick up their core. I don't think Axe is going to be a safe lane, although technically you can do that. Which, by the way, for those of you guys that haven't been watching Vici Gaming, Burning is now on the support position. He's playing the 4 support. Sylar is playing the carry position. CTY obviously on the mid, ROTK off lane, and HYM, the drafter, is also on the support. So
Yeah. What's the pick here for Vici? Time running out. They'll have to get executive pretty soon. OD is still in the pool. Has not been touched yet, though he's sort of fallen off a bit. They take a Pugna. Did not see that coming.
So this is a safe lane Pugna?
Yeah, Sylar Pugna. There you go.
All right.
Wow. So they'll have a fair bit of pushing prowess of their own now. Invoker with Forged Spirits could go for a Necronomicon.
Okay.
And of course, the Pugna Q. So we'll be able to siege towers pretty well. I mean, Pugna can definitely do a lot if he gets that safe lane farm. Something like a Mech Ags can be a pretty damn good build if you want a Death Ball early on. And
I also think that Decrepify is going to be fairly annoying for, let's say, Rabbit to deal with. Also a super until he gets this BKB. So I don't know. It's really hard for me to say, oh, this lineup is just clearly better. Because we're operating a very different axis right here.
Yeah.
On Vici Gaming, they're looking to team fight more. They're looking to push more. Whereas CDEC, I think they're a little bit more focused on the laning stage, a little bit more timing based. Once DK gets the Blink Dagger, the team gets much stronger. So I think the laning stage is really going to be a big tell of how this game's going to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's part of the story when you... Whoa, my God, that's a speedy map. When you pick up Lich as well, you really want to try to min-max that laning phase, so to speak. And, sorry, let me just fix this here.
I need to do the same thing.
Yeah, wow, okay. That's much better.
Somebody playing with their settings.
I should have double-checked these settings. I got to do the reverse camera grip here as well. No, that's not it. Oh, my. Pardon me, folks. We're going to get this sorted very quickly here.
You're not missing much. I'm keeping an eye out on the game. Yao did get a D Ward on the top, netting him the extra 100 gold. For those of you guys that are not really D-warding in the new patch, instead of getting the experience, the 100 experience that you used to get, and the 50 gold, now you get 100 gold and 25 experience. This does matter because in the new patch, a lot of the newer items introduced are fairly cheap. For example, the Windlace. For example, Doom could pick up Windlace right now if he wants to make his offlane a little bit better. Yeah,
and that's an interesting topic. You know, I've heard some people say that Windlace is one of the biggest changes to this patch, being able to grab that at level 1 and have a movement speed advantage, but I haven't seen too many teams that have grabbed it actually at level 1 to start. Of course, it becomes a great item early on in the laning phase, but getting it right at the spawn has not been so common in what I've noticed.
Looks like we see a dive, Runesteel attempt on the top lane. HYM now without dive. Q already waiting for him in the trees here. Impale's going to get dropped down, but he doesn't have any support to get the kill. But a good amount of harass, forcing the Phoenix back to the lane, or maybe just expanding that south.
Yeah, not a bad way to start the game. Great positioning from Q there.
Yeah, he knew that was coming.
Yep.
But back to the Windlace. You know how sometimes when you have your Rubik or Lion starting boots first, and the other support essentially have to get every support item, right, to compensate for that. I think in a scenario where if your line wants a little bit of extra movement speed to initiate, Windlace is kind of a good solution where the other support don't have to get, you know, all the Observer, Courier, D-Ward, and everything else.
Yeah, fair point. Mid lane here, we're going to see CTY in trouble. Q coming around from the backside, and that's an easy first blood for CDEC. They even knew the Lion was kind of lingering around up there, and Invoker just steps a bit too far forward. Nice first blood draw.
Yeah, not only are you getting the Lich treatment on the mid lane, you know, you're also getting the first blood. With that said, though, Lich did not skill sacrifice. Obviously, he had the Nova Blast to go for that kill.
Yep.
But now the sapping begins.
Yep, absolutely. And it is going to be a 2-1-2 coming out of Vici. Sylar going off lane here with Burning for now. And that means RTK is going to be in the safe lane on Axe. And he will have the support of the Phoenix, though so far he's having a pretty good time just being a bully by himself. So slightly different way to set up these lanes. Not exactly what I was expecting.
Yeah, having the Pugna on the bottom lane, the nice thing is that you do a lot of like random consequential damage to the tier 1 tower. So when the actual push begins, it should be relatively easy to get the kill. But I mean, Lich Doom has been like the traditional you can't win this lane.
Yep.
And I just don't see Sylar being able to do very well here.
Yeah, it's really hard to be aggressive against this combo because the combination of Lich's slow with the speed from Scorched Earth makes it almost impossible to get away from.
There we go.
You see Yao going hard onto Sylar. Sylar doing what he can. He uses the decrep. It'll buy him some time, but it's not going to be enough to survive. Yao chops him down with the fiery sword. That'll make it 2-0 as CDEC get another one on the scoreboard.
So I want you guys to look at the clock. as it was like 208, but when the fight actually happened, it was like 155. You know that the enemy support is about to check the rune, so it is a 2v1 situation. Had Venge been there to actually drop a magic missile, it would have been probably the kill would not have happened. So really strong recognition by CDEC to get that timing. Top lane here looks like they do pick up the kill there.
Very
So
nice.
it's just carnage all over the place, but as predicted, CDEC does have the much stronger laning stage.
And that was really close as well. Q skilled Hex as well as Earth Spike here at level 2. And they just barely had enough damage to finish off the Phoenix in the duration of the crowd controls before he could Icarus dive away. Almost lived there.
All right. I'm just keeping my eye out for the win lace purchase. So far, absolutely no one has spotted yet, you know? There's that.
It's always interesting when they add new items like that. It seems like teams are a little slow to adopt the changes, and then once everyone realizes how good those items can be, you start to see them picked up a lot more. I do like the idea, though, of taking those movement speed items like Yule Scepter, Drum of Endurance, and adding like a movement speed component to them. I think it really makes a lot of sense in terms of how the items are constructed.
Now, we are seeing the reason why CDEC has selected Lifestealer more and more. You know, one of the few melee heroes that can bully Axe in lane. You can see that he's just walking past the creep wave and just start trading right clicks. With Feast, you know, he could actually threaten Axe quite a bit.
Yeah. ROTK is still getting a fair bit out of this lane, though. 9-3, not too bad. Only a couple less hits behind that of the Lifestealer. In the bottom lane, Sylar is doing pretty well, as is Doom. So it seems like basically everyone is farming somewhat up to par at this point, Lumi. It's a fairly even laning stage aside from the kills that CDEC have picked up. And, well, I should have looked at the numbers before I said that. Already a 1,500 net worth lead. So they are getting more out of this laning phase. I guess the Phoenix has been in a little bit of Strug City. Finally gets level 2, and now we're going to see initiation onto Rabbit. Decent damage coming out, but he's just going to rage. He should be able to. He doesn't even use the rage. He just walks away. Oh, no, there it is.
I mean, we're seeing the power of this laning combo, right? If you do get the call, the Sunray takes on you for a while, and you're going to get chased down. But Lifestealer, somewhat tankier to deal with.
Yeah, and we have been seeing Phoenixes just prioritize the Sunray as one of the spells that they put a lot of points in early on because it just does so much damage. If you can lock somebody down in it, the percentage over time is it's pretty scary.
Yeah, it works so well this game. You have the taunt to set you up, and of course you have the Greptify to slow them down even further. I imagine the Sunray is going to be a big part of the damage output as the mid game comes, but it looks like we're going to see a little bit of fighting on the mid lane here. CTY in a lot of trouble. Teleportations are coming in, and with that they will turn it back. And there's that Sunray trying to burn down Super, but I don't think it's going to happen here.
Yeah, it's still a 3-on-2. They'll push back the Phoenix. Now the Breathe Fire connects on CTY, but there's reinforcements from the bottom lane. It's Sylar coming in. Decrep onto Super. This Wave of Terror will be off the mark. Q comes out. They just don't have the damage to secure these kills, and even though Vici have the numbers, they will be forced back without any more kills to their name.
Yeah, it was kind of a risky move for Vici to make for that engagement. Remember, 1% TP in, 2% rotated from bottom. They needed that to happen, and unfortunately didn't get the kill. So CDEC continue to do very well on the laning stage. I expect them to pick up the relatively early Blink Dagger and just kind of steamroll. Although, again, Armlet has been buffed, so we might see DK actually offer that item as well. Drums is very good on the hero as well.
Is definitely. Oh,
I just turned on your mic for you.
Thanks. Hopefully it was on most of the time.
No, it was on the whole time.
Okay.
I think when our production staff came in.
Oh, okay, perfect.
A little bit fixed.
Good call, Lumi. Nice heads-up play there.
Yep. I'm the carrier on this team.
Yeah, there you go.
Or
all
support.
right.
I don't know.
So where are we here? Rabbit's still doing okay in the off lane against ROTK. He has picked up his Tranquil Boots. Now, I'm really curious what build the Axe goes for. Does he just rush the Blink Dagger? Does he stop off for a Vanguard? Or do you just get a blade? Like, how do you decide when to prioritize the blade mail in a game like this?
Oh, hold that thought, because we're going to see another smoke
in the mid, but it gets broken from Vici coming up from the high ground. They were not ready for this. Burning gets hexed. He heads right back from the way he came, and I think both sides are going to end up disengaging here. Sunray will be enough to scare back the likes of CDEC, and that'll be the end of it. But Vici do break the smoke, and they keep their Invoker alive, so I guess it is a minor victory for them there.
I think a lot of safe lane access do opt for an item before Blink, whether it's Blade Mail or Vanguard, or sometimes even a Hood, depending on the lineup. Another gank.
Yeah, Sylar gets doomed down bottom, and he actually
Sunray?
might die here. Sunray is going to be just enough to keep him alive, it looks like.
Nice.
And he'll be good. Nice play from the Phoenix. While we're looking at that up top, Axe actually falls to Rabbit. It will end up costing him his life 1-for-1 as Burning gets the kill. But nice pickup for the Lifestealer there. Missed the beginning of that setup, but as you were talking about, he's one of few heroes that can actually trade blows with the Axe, and looks like this time they got the better of it.
Yeah. Given how poorly the laning stage has went for Vici, I feel like they need an item to basically start the fight. And what better way to do it than the blink? I think normally you want to go for another item, but in this game, I think the earlier the blink, the better. Because without it, they're essentially just sitting ducks.
You're right, and that really is their key to initiate. You know, they've got Phoenix who can egg, they've got Invoker with all of his follow-up damage, but Axe really is that key piece of their lineup to start off these fights.
Also, the first kind of new item pickup, if you look at Invoker on the mid lane here, Infused Raindrop. I mean, given the situation, it makes a lot of sense, right? A ton of rotation coming to the mid lane, and blocking that 120 magic damage, was it? That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. That's a really interesting item, and one that I've spent some time talking to Purge about, because it is one that could be value if you keep it in your inventory long enough, but it does just go away. We're going to see a Sunstrike here. It does connect on Super. ROTK on the way in after the Cold Snap. Now the Sunray as well. ROTK gets stunned up. Can't connect with the Berserker's Call. Great use of the crowd controls from Q, and they will keep their mid alive. Now they're going to turn on to ROTK. Rabbits join the party, and they get another one. 5-1 as CDEC continue to dominate on Vici.
And more importantly than just the kill they got, they slowed down the Axe. Axe ported to the mid lane, was even smoked up, did not get the kill. I think now Vici needs to just go back in the jungle, don't show up for a while till the Blink Dagger is online. Infused Raindrop, back to that item. I think I personally been testing this item a lot, especially on a support hero. Whenever I see an enemy Lina, for example, pick up the Yules, I'm like, all right, time for me to get Infused Raindrop. She can't combo you as effectively after that. And
I think it's really good against like roaming supports like a Mirana, for example. If you get hit by an arrow, that can often be the difference maker to keep you alive. So it's an item that has some merit, but very situational. It does have some decent regen on it as well. That 0.85 is not something to sleep on in the early laning stage.
Yeah, definitely. 0.85 is actually quite a bit. It's much better than Basalis if you want a comparison.
And like half the price.
Yeah. Well, that said, though, CTY is going for the standard Midas Rush build on Invoker, and that Infused Raindrop does slow it down quite a bit.
Yeah. Now, Vici do have a lot of stacks in the jungle here, which is something the Axe could definitely use to recover. And if he takes out both these, that'll get him close to his blink. He's at 1,400, so 2/3 of the way there.
Yeah. Whenever you pick up Vengeful Spirit, the one nice thing that you do is a lot of stacking, as you could stack one camp with your physical attack and using your Wave of Terror to stack another. And you can say he is beginning to work on them. Unfortunately, these creeps are also working on ROTK, as he is, let's just say, underfarmed at this point in the game.
Yeah. Well, down bottom, CDEC, a smoke with Super and Q. They're hanging out in the Roche Pit for now. They'll get a ward down on the high ground of the plateau, but not going to find any gank targets here. So another smoke that'll be kind of rendered a failure.
Yeah, so, well, Doom has got all the new goodies. Windlace.
Wow.
Infuse Raindrop on himself. Now, the Infused Raindrop does make sense on Doom, right? A fairly mana-dependent hero. His mana pool is relatively small, so the 0.85 does recover a big chunk of it.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Yeah, there is quite a bit of magic damage on the side of Vici, but if he gets caught by a smoke or something, like we talked about, could be the difference to keep him alive. How's Rabbit looking here in the offlane? He's been pretty quiet for the last couple minutes and is on the lower end of the net worth pack, but everyone is still fairly even. Just phase boots, probably the beginnings of a drum here with the bracer. Fairly standard kit for him. There's that Blink Dagger for Axe. So even though RTK's had kind of a slow game, 0, 2, and 1, 10.5 minute blink is not too bad of a timing.
Yeah, they're going to try to show it off here on the bottom side. I think the target you do want to go for is Q. He's sitting on the back line, and here we go.
They've got the ward down, though. They see this coming. They haven't seen the Axe yet. But if he walks into ward vision, they will reveal the blink a bit earlier than planned.
That ward planted before the push was so smart.
Yeah.
I mean, you just plan for this moment. Here comes the call, but I mean, he's under double damage CK, but he's doing a ton of damage. Magic damage is coming through from Silo. They will get Q for 1 Q, the Doom preventing the dunk from coming out.
Yeah, and while we were watching that down bottom, there was actually a kill mid on the Invoker. He was trying to push the tower. Rabbit TP'd in, and they get a kill there. So it is a trade 1-for-1 across the map. And, of course, the tower down bottom did go down. Last hit went to the DK. So all things considered, CDEC should be pretty happy with that. They only lose a support. They get a kill on the Invoker. They defend their Tier 1 mid, get the Tier 1 bottom. And it looks like Rabbit could get the Tier 1 mid as well. The glyph's already been used. ROTK looking for a deny, perhaps. In comes the Berserker's Call. Deny will come out. Can they get a kill on Rabbit? It's not looking like it. He's actually going to man up onto Sylar here. Earth Spike from Q on the backside. Rabbit getting kind of low. ROTK turned into a fish. Sunstrike will be off the mark. The dunk's not there. CDEC still keep their team alive.
Oh, no.
Now Yao's joined the party. He's going to try to chase down ROTK. Is it enough damage from the Infernal Blade? The last hit gets him. Wow. CDEC coming out fierce in the mid lane here, Lumi.
I mean, now I think you just look towards your Invoker and hope for the best, as both supports of both teams picking up the Tome of Knowledge.
Ah, speaking of new items.
Yeah, I gotta say, when I'm playing my pub games, I got that Tome of Knowledge on my quick buy.
You're ready?
And I just spammed the hell out of the item. I don't want anyone picking that one up.
Yeah.
And I do believe the support should be picking it up, as you do see both supports on either team picking it up.
Yeah.
The level burst of hitting your, for example, the line was 5, now to 6.5 is just a big deal.
Exactly right. I think the first one is probably the most important because you do hit those breakpoints. Phoenix, for example, level 5 right now. That could be the difference, supposed to push him over the edge.
Yep.
Yao also going for an interesting item build. He went Vanguard first item on Doom, so he's actually really tanky right now. The armor from Lich added on top of that. He's got a lot of armor, a lot of HP, and he is ready to fight, man. Smoke rotation from CDEC towards the top lane. Vici will have a rather defensive posture here as Q, again, puts a ward down, giving them a lot of just good intel about the movements of Vici if they come to defend this top tier 1.
Yeah, definitely not a traditional item being purchased on Doom, but hold that thought. Here comes Q. He's going to get the Hex off. Impale's going to fly out here. RTK taking a ton of damage. Ramses Pop's going to come out here, and they're now burning on 3 different heroes. Q wastes the Hex. HYM's going to be okay as well. Obviously, he does have the egg available to him. Can they actually get any kills, though?
It's not looking like it. Yao starting to get low, but he survives. They just jump in, destroy the Axe, break the egg from Phoenix. Another ward from Pugna's being annoying at best. They'll interrupt the TP from CTY as well.
Oh, no.
It's a 3-0 fight. All 5 of CDEC still alive. They didn't push down the tier 1 tower up top yet, but it looks like they'll rotate up and finish it off now.
It turns out the Blink Dagger timing from Super much more effective than the one on Axe.
Yeah.
And Axe still, like you said earlier, a snowball-based hero. And this snowball has not been started. It's still on top of that hill, man. It has not rolled down yet.
Yeah. You know, you're a little skeptical about that Lifestealer pick, but it seems like it's worked out pretty well. He's put a lot of pressure on Axe in the laning phase. I mean, I think CDEC in general have handled the Axe well with just rotations. Every time ROTK's come to a fight, they've had some tool to deal with him. Q on this line in particular, it seems like he's just got Axe's number. He's just ready and waiting to drop a stun as soon as the Axe hops in.
Yeah, I wonder if Doom is going to upgrade this Vanguard to Crimson, as the Buckler part of the Crimson also benefits Doom quite well. I mean, we've seen Puppy just get the value Buckler on whenever he plays Doom. So I wonder if that's a natural transition. Normally, you do want to get an early Blink on Doom as well. Either that or Vlad's.
Yeah, and I mean, we can't forget that Abyssal Blade was changed as well.
Sure,
now it does take a Vanguard as well as a Basher, so a very different take on that item. It used to be all about damage and aggression, and now it's sort of a hybrid defensive and damage dealing item. And I wonder if this is just an early Vanguard so he can take an advantage now to later transition into that, or if it's more like the Crimson like you're talking about.
I mean, you know, you would never consider the Abyssal before, right? On Doom. Now we're kind of considering, you know?
Yeah, it's not the craziest thing. It still feels a little weird. It's unconventional, like you said. But
I think it's weird because we're not used to seeing it.
Yeah.
But maybe like 2 weeks down the line, it's like, oh, Doom Vanguard, he's going to build that into Abyssal. No questions asked, right? So we'll see. We'll see. The other thing is I'm going to keep a close eye out on Lines Blink Dagger pickup. Obviously, he's only got 600 gold in the bank right now, but, you know, they're winning every single team fight. They're looking to push the top tier 1, so it shouldn't be too much after. Yeah.
And what are you thinking about itemization for the Lich? He's got about 1,500 gold right now, just sitting on Tranquil Boots. He'll have some possibilities coming up pretty soon here also.
You know, he's been saving a lot of gold. I wonder if he wants to get a little bit greedy and pick up the Hand of Midas.
Oh, okay. And what do you transition into after that? I mean, I feel like the Ags on Lich is a little bit underwhelming.
I think Lich is one of those more item-independent heroes. You adjust your item build to whatever the game acquires for.
Okay.
Whether it's like, hey, I want to pick up, let's say, a medallion to buff on my team, or Urn if we're fighting a lot. I think Urn, to begin with, is a fairly good purchase in this game already. Because a lot of these fights has been close-ish, and you heal them up to get the push afterwards.
Super with the fast reactions. My God, burning an ROTK, tried to set it up, but he blinks out before the Berserker's Call comes out and just walks away. Talk about living life on the edge, man. That was so close.
Oh, sorry. Looks like Guardian did pick up the Urn.
Oh, okay. There
Okay,
you go.
yeah.
Okay.
It's just like a, you know, nice little bit of HP item.
Yeah, and they've also been fighting a lot. I mean, 10-2 in 14 minutes. I think you'll definitely get some value out of this Urn.
Well, Vici did pick up 2 relatively early game snowball-dependent hero. Can they actually do something with it? Sylar is pushing.
It's a pretty big deficit here, Lumi. About 7,500 net worth at only the 15-minute mark. They will put some pressure on this tier 1. Glyph comes out, and it looks like CDEC will try to make a stand. ROTK backing up, looking for an angle to initiate here. Dragonite with an illusion rune. We'll send one of them in. Get some intel for the team. Tower going down quick here, and it will fall to the Pugna. Not much of a defense from CDEC, though they did rotate most of their team.
Yeah, the tower does actually help Sylar quite a bit. He is getting close to finishing the Guardian Greaves. Not really used to dispel a lot of these. Like, there's no big silence, for example, to dispel. It's the fact that mech won't cost mana anymore after he gets the Greaves upgrade.
Right.
And as we all know, Pugna is hugely dependent on his mana pool.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you do need to get some sort of a survivability-based item. If not mech, then something like a Force Staff, something to keep you alive, because Pugna is notoriously squishy in those early levels.
I think normally you offer an item like Rod of Atos.
Yeah, that could work too.
Because of the Vitality Booster component. But against Lifestealer that could Rage, you probably don't want the Atos. And I think Lifestealer likes it when you get more HP, because Feast is more effective.
Yeah.
As he lifesteal from you. So I think in this particular game, you're looking for things like Force Staff, or you go the opposite route and just get armor, because Feast also is reduced by having armor value on you. So maybe a Shivas would be good. But I think right now, Sylar is just looking to get some gold, because that's in shortage here for Vici nowadays.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, ROTK is now bumped into this scenario with Axe, where the early Blink Dagger can help you snowball when you jump in and set up kills for your team, but now he's so squishy when he jumps in, they just go, oh, it's the Axe with no other items. Let's just kill him. And he kind of falls over. It looks like he will just move into the Blade Mail next. He's picked up the Robe of the Magi already. And I think it's the right call here. Trying to move into a Vanguard at this point, I think, is definitely the wrong decision.
Yep.
So now he can try to return some of that damage.
If we're watching this game maybe one patch ago, I would say that Vici just has no chance, because their Axe is just going to keep dying throughout the game and essentially have no impact. But with the new change of Blade Mail, I think Blade Mail is actually a very, very strong item in the late game. We do see a scan happening on the top lane. Gets nobody. I am waiting for the UI change where you could actually tell if it's a Radiant scan or a Dire scan.
Yes.
I assume that was Dire scanning there.
It was. You can tell by the cooldown. They just use theirs, and Radiant still have theirs available. But you're right. Basically, it's green if it doesn't see anyone, and then if somebody walks into it, it turns red, right? So you never know which team it is based on color code. It is definitely, it's a little tricky from the observer perspective.
Well, we do have quite a bit of issue here.
Looks like Vici is having some big-time connection issues. Kale all over the place.
Perfect World doing its thing. You know, when I was living in Hong Kong the past couple of months, I played a ton of Perfect World.
Oh yeah? How is it?
Server is pretty crap. I think that's a little that's a little rude. I think maybe about in a day of Dota, I play like 5 to 6 games, and there's one game where like there's packet loss.
It's just almost unplayable, and it's
yeah.
You
could say unplayable. I mean, especially like for a professional game. Like
right.
This.
But how do the pubs different over on that server? I hear that the Chinese pubs tend to be a little more try-hard, a little more in line with the meta. You know, you get flamed if you pick something crazy.
Yeah, whenever, you know, last patch, Jakiro was one of my favorite heroes to pick because, you know, it's a support that can push tower. Whenever I pick Jakiro, people are like, ... You know,
we lost.
What is this hero? I've never seen this before. Is this in Dota? Is this a new hero?
Poor THD, man. He doesn't get any love these days.
Well, Smoke Gank incoming here, and this is the quick burst kill combo with the Blink, Infest, the Finger of Death to follow up.
Yep.
Unfortunately for them, they're not finding anybody. Maybe they need a scan.
Yeah, they have it available. Actually, this would be a perfect time to use it. That is a change that is going to take me a long time to get used to, I have to admit. I still just don't think about having the ability to scout anywhere on the map on a 5-minute cooldown. But again, with these wards, CDEC have done such a good job deciding where they want to fight and pre-warding it so that Vici are almost always at a vision disadvantage.
That's a good hallmark of a great support player. It's just like whenever you smoke, you have a ward in inventory. So you drop those steep wards, like you said, and it makes future pushes much easier. And here comes CDEC looking to claim essentially a free tier 2 tower.
Yeah, Phoenix is pushing in the top lane right now. That tower's about to go down. Then he'll probably join the party here, pretty close to his Midas as well. Glyph comes out straight away for Vici, and that doesn't look like they're going to put up much of a defense here, if any. All split up. Invoker's already headed off to the jungle to continue farming, and I think this one will just be sacrificed.
Vici don't want to fight under that +3 armor of their tier 2 tower.
Apparently not. It's an interesting change to add that AoE armor to towers.
As a scumbag bounty hunter picker who tower dives after kills, I do not like the change.
Well, fair enough. There you go. But Phoenix, pushing up top, does secure his Midas now. 17 minutes, not a bad timing. That'll allow him to get some extra XP here, start leveling up that egg a little bit, get to that prized level 16, so Supernova becomes quite potent.
Yeah, I wonder if he gets enough gold, whether he'll consider Aghanim Scepter as a late game possible.
It did get a buff this patch as well.
Yeah, you get 2 extra hits on your egg at level 16. And more importantly, if you look at the way that CDEC wants to kill people, they want to Doom or Finger to blow one person up, right?
Yeah.
Should the X save successfully one person, they just flat out win the team fight. Because CDEC expends so much resource to go for that one quick kill. And if the Phoenix Egg does rescue somebody in that scenario...
Oh, Sylar. He sees that haste rune. He wants it. It's just taunting him as he gets taken out before he can reach it. Also put the Nether Ward down. An extra 60 gold goes the way of CDEC. Nice little pick off there. No big cooldowns used.
All right, so it looks like he is going to be going for the Aghanim Scepter for the 0 cooldown on Life Drain instead of upgrading the Greaves.
Yep. For now, at least.
Yeah. Which does help his HP pool, as we mentioned earlier.
You know, he could have also just stopped off for the quote-unquote value point booster and then goes back for the Greaves as well, just to get some extra stats for the Pugna.
I think I saw an Ogre Club somewhere.
Oh, maybe there's one on the Courier.
Maybe he sold it instead. I'm not sure.
There was an Ogre Club, though, on the DK. He's got his BKB now. He just picked it up. So it's 10 seconds of magic immunity ready for this next fight. It is Vici smoked up, though. They're going to rotate down bottom. They may catch Rabbit here. ROTK goes in first, has the Blade Mail. Sunstark will be off the mark. A nice clean kill on the Lifestealer. Exactly what Vici needed. And ROTK will get credit for that one, so put a little extra change in his pockets.
Yep. Blade Mail does help now quite a bit. I wonder what item he's going to be going for. Vanguard Crimson is a possibility. Shiva, Vlad's. Maybe just armor is what Vici needs right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good question. Where does ROTK go from here? Maybe even more mobility? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think he needs to beef up. You're right. It is precarious, though, against the Lifestealer, as you were talking about before. Speaking of Lifestealer, it is a Sanjin Yasha coming out for him next after the armlet. Vici will continue to siege this tier 1 down bottom. Looks like they'll be able to grab it without any fight. CDC will just put their focus elsewhere on the map. Also, BKB is up on Doom, still at 10 seconds. So they are gearing up for one big team fight where they are going to be hard to deal with.
Yeah, normally, again, in a previous patch, once you see these BKBs coming out, you're like, all right, Vici has no chance. But with new interaction with Axe against Magic Immunity, he doesn't care that much. With that said, though, it will reduce the damage of Pugna, the Phoenix, as well as Invoker spells. So I think CDC obviously is still in an excellent position. Yeah,
and Sylar did buy a Staff of Wizardry, so it looks like you were right. He will just go straight for that Aghanims. Okay. And also RTK, Vanguard, probably another good call here. He's got at least one Ring of Regen.
Sure.
So possibly a Lotus Orb. Could be a pretty good game for Lotus, actually. A lot of good spells
Lotus
to reflect.
Is sick here, right?
Yeah.
You dispel the Hex, or I guess it debuffs the Hex, reflects the Doom.
Finger, Chain Frost, a lot of good things to recast.
Oh man, if you get the Chain Frost reflect that, you're just...
Yeah, dude, that's godlike.
Smiling.
Although, of all the spells, though, I mean, it has a pretty slow missile speed, so once you see it cast, it is one that you can react to and get the Lotus off.
Every 10 minutes, Tome of Knowledge. Please have it purchased.
Are there some available here?
I think they bought the first one a little bit late. It's definitely available.
It's in stock. There you go.
Guardian, please buy it. Hitler level 11. There you go. Venge picks it up. Burning knows what's up.
There you go. Only a minute late.
It's like, I may not be able to farm gold, but I'll farm experience.
Yeah, good old Burning. CDEC are really itemizing well here. Nothing too crazy about it. And they do also pick up a gem, so they will start reclaiming some map control. And I think one saving grace here for Vici is that they did go double Midas on the Invoker and the Phoenix. Both very standard item pickups, but will allow them to kind of take an edge as this game takes a more passive turn. And you see it reflected on the net worth graph. Hasn't been too much action, but it is a steady decline in favor of Vici.
And the way that CDEC operates as a lineup is they're kind of a 5-man down in mid lane kind of line, right? So Vici understanding they cannot fight on that axis, they're like, okay, we're going to just split push instead. You can push our mid. We're going to try to shove the waves on the top and bottom lane in. So even though you get our mid tier 2 for free, you still have to go back to defend your tier 2. And again, they drag out the game a little bit more, like you said, taking advantage of the double Midas buildups.
Yeah. Yeah, CDC were off to that great start, but you're right. Vici have just been dodging these team fights, splitting the map, and they are really hungry to fight here. We've seen CDC with a couple of smokes now. They've got Chain Frost, they've got Finger, they've got Doom. When all those ultimates are available, they're pretty eager to take a team fight.
Yeah, should they find one.
Yeah.
That's kind of the key thing here.
So they are still deep in enemy territory, now clearing out enemy neutrals, another double damage rune up on Super. He did pop his ult, and it is soon to expire.
Maybe looking to set up a kill here on Rabbit on the top lane. Phoenix is hiding in the wings. Not sure whether they can get the kill though, because Rage is essentially get out of jail free card for the Lifestealer.
Yeah, I think they're going to need reinforcements to try to take a fight here. And uh-oh, CTY is going to get bumped into. He's going to try to TP out, but they've got a gem and they've got detection or interruptions. Yeah. CTY definitely going down here. He does buy some items before he falls, so he doesn't lose any gold. But another kill does go the way of CDEC.
Yeah, with that kill, they probably lose the tier 2 top unless Phoenix do a little bit of nice cutting action. The Force Spirit, though, trying its best with a little bit life of duration, pulls the wave a little bit further apart.
Yeah, that's not bad. That actually buys them some decent time.
Yeah.
Cheeky play there. Yao down bottom, ready to defend against the Pugna. Sylar is very close to his Ags. Actually, with that next creep kill, he does have the gold for it. A really scary item in the hands of Pugna. Gives him so much more survivability.
Though I wonder whether the 0 cooldown life drain is actually that effective this game, considering that he is actually probably Doom target next to Invoker, right? So, doesn't matter if you have 0 cooldown if you're silenced.
That's a good point. Up top, CDEC moving in towards this tier 2 tower, and so far Vici are not in a position to make a defense here. They're more focused about the bottom lane. Looks like they want to trade tier 2s if they have the option. BOT is up on the Invoker, so he will be able to hop down and join the party.
Oh, there's a call coming up here. Sunstrike at the ready. Can we get enough burst damage to get the kill? TPs are coming in, and CDC says, thanks to bringing the fight to us. And now looks like Burning is the sacrificial lamb here. Gets his carry out of harm's way, and they're going home.
Can they get one more, though? Sylar uses the mech. It does clip ROTK. Doom still has a couple seconds left in duration.
Juke.
He's going to try to find a spot in the trees, and it's not going to happen. Super's there with the Dragon Tail, and it's going to be a twofer. Yao just too tanky to take down in that kind of a scenario, and they turn it around. That is pretty nice for CDEC, though. I mean, they didn't even get Yao past, like, 50% HP, man. That's one tanky Doombringer.
Yeah. A little bit overzealous, getting the jump under the enemy tier 2. And of course, CDEC reacting immediately.
Yep.
Alright, keeping an eye on the item pickup here. HYM is going to be going for the Shiva as expected.
Pretty classic on the Phoenix.
Yep.
And Aghanim's just about to come out for CTY as well. So they are still getting some decent itemization, but Vici still yet to really take that team fight that has gotten them back into this game. You know, they've been splitting and farming well, but definitely still hesitant to just take CDC in a straight-up 5-man.
Yeah, so I know earlier you were asking me like how the Chinese pub differs. So let's say if you're in a position like this in a Chinese pub, the one thing that the dire pub teams would focus on is just high ground. They're going to give up all their outer tower and just say, you know what, we're going to just win that one team fight to come back in the game. So as this game drags on, you'll see Vici just always carrying TPs, as per usual on most heroes, but they're going to look for one fight.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
CTY.
though, the one fight would not come as they will lose another core another time.
Such a scary duo, man. Finger, Infest, and then the right-click follow-up. It's hard for anybody to survive, let alone the poor little Invoker there. He does have his Aghanims completed again, able to buy right before he dies, but still unfortunate. And now an SNY out for the Dragon Knight, as well as a gem picked up for Vici. So now there is a gem in the hands of both teams, and we'll probably see map vision become the next big priority for both sides. Dire actually don't have any wards down right now. All the wards they had down were killed by CDEC.
Small thing to touch on with the SNY. The new SNY for melee heroes, well, for both range and melee hero, does have a very high chance to proc, but for melee, it's about 32% slow. Which doesn't really matter in this game because they're just dead.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I think the Vici hero is just like paper at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. And they've already got quite a few slows as well. Open wounds, as well as everything Lich has out with the Chain Frost.
Can we get the jump? Sylar's running for his life right now.
Oh, Phoenix on the way in. Egg comes out, but there's a lot of heroes here. BKBs get popped, and they go straight for the right clicks. Can they pop the egg? He can survive. Oh my, they turn it onto line because of it. It's such a close call. CDEC still relatively healthy, though. They're going to start to back out. Yao, the one that gets left behind, as Rabbit comes in. Lich ready to join the party as well. He's got a Chain Frost ready to rock. ROTK is doomed. Not a hell of a lot he can do here. Now the Chain Frost comes. No bounces, but Sylar gets low. Swap from Burning. ROTK sets it up onto Guardian. He'll fall. Invoker joining the party now as well. Finds the kill on Lich. They bring down Lifestealer, and this is the fight that Vici have been waiting for. They're going to get Yao as well. It's a 1-for-4 as CDEC get way overzealous in the mid. And now this will open up Roche here for the Dire squad.
You know, when the egg popped and they didn't really get that much done, they being Vici there, I thought Vici was going to lose the fight as Lifestealer was running in with Lich. But suddenly as Invoker came to the fight, the spells came down. ROTK very tanky thanks to the Vanguard. They win the fight. They take the new Roche. And
there you go.
I wouldn't say they're completely back in it, but
definitely
they're kind of back in it, I want to say.
Well, and it's also morale boost
Yeah.
just to take a team fight like that. You have to recognize, though, that was CDEC not in their best form. They were very
No.
scattered about. It was a clumsy initiation, and it wasn't really a 5v5 team fight. It was a lot of individuals coming in sort of one at a time, and Vici just had the superior numbers there. Also, great plays from Burning. The swap to keep Sylar alive at least a little bit longer definitely made a difference there.
Burning, a good player?
Who knew?
You don't say.
Who would have thought, huh? He's also got 2,200 gold, so he could be looking at a Blink Dagger or a Force Staff of his own for some additional mobility.
I think Ghost Scepter might be a consideration as well, given that
Ooh,
Life Stealer
yeah.
sticks on you quite a bit. Although, gotta be careful when you ghost under that Lion, man.
Yeah. Yeah, same with the Lich as well.
Yeah.
That was so close with the Phoenix Egg, though. That was really the difference maker in that fight. If that egg breaks, I think it goes the opposite way.
Right.
I think he was one auto attack away from breaking as well.
I am very curious what Burning will buy in this position. I think Force Staff is just the safest item of choice, but we'll see.
ROTK looking at a Lotus Orb here, it looks like. Plate Mail and Perseverance on the Courier. And Burning actually goes for the Aether Lens.
Okay. Aether Lens essentially upgrades your ultimate if you're going to think about it like that.
Yeah.
So there is that.
Yeah. It's a great item to have on bench. Also, Magic Missile has pretty low range, so now it gives you that option to sort of sit back and get stuns off without being in harm's way.
And that 5% extra magic damage, though.
Oh yeah, that 5% buff on the swap is pretty crazy, man.
You know, on your rank 2 magic missile, you're gonna be hurting them hard.
Yeah. Well, CDEC hungry for another fight here, and again, Vici will just back out, split the map, find farm in the bottom lane, keep things open here. Taking fights on their terms, very impressive.
Yeah. Well, I think Vici should be very cognizant that the only way that they're gonna lose the game flat out is just getting solo picked.
Yeah.
I mean, CTY got solo picked twice, right? That's something that he should be aware of. With that said, though, he does have an Aegis and a Blink, so he should be relatively safe.
And I think against a lineup like this, they're going to find some picks. It's definitely going to happen, and all things considered, they've mitigated it fairly well. And at least a few times when someone does get picked, they find ways to pressure towers around the map and take other objectives. I mean, this tier 2 down bottom, below half health. The tier 2 up top is actually pretty close to going down as well. So if they win another fight in the near future, they'll be able to probably knock these towers down. We do see a scan come out, and it looks like it was from the Dire side here in the middle of the Radiant jungle.
Or maybe Radiant side to see if there's somebody in their own jungle. Who knew? Who knows?
There you go. Now Dire have the cooldown.
Yeah.
Although Radiant just used theirs as well, and now they're going to use it in about the same spot. So there you go. Scan meta.
Phoenix walking in. Got him. Oh no, it just timed out.
Close call. 2 minutes left on the Aegis here, so it is a really good time for Vici to fight. Looks like CDEC are thinking the same thing. They're going to infest inside of the Dragon Knight, clear out a few creeps, and they're going to start moving down towards the bottom lane as Pugna does finish off that tier 2 tower. And so with that, Vici just get the hell out of there.
You do see a Lifestealer picking up a Desolator, which obviously makes sense. You're approaching the pushing high ground stage. Minus armor helps, and good against the Vici heroes. Just my gripe is, oh, mid lane looks like we're going to see a jump coming out, and that is a dead Sylar. And this is the high ground push.
Yeah, that's tough. No buyback available on the Pugna, and just such an easy pickoff there.
Oh no, they're not going to push. Looks like they're going to just keep on finding picks, maybe farming here and there.
Oh, wow, that's an interesting play. They pull the Ancients onto the high ground. Lifestealer's like, oh, no Ancients here. Okay, cool. Now they see him as they come back, but
yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, so my little gripe is if you're gonna pick up the Deso, maybe it was kind of a mid-game decision, but if you know you're gonna pick up Deso, I think you should pick up the Blightstone ASAP.
Just grab it early to get that value minus armor.
Yeah, I mean, if you're pushing like a tier 1 and tier 2 tower, it just helps your team push very hard.
Yeah, I agree. As long as you have the inventory space for it, that is the one issue.
And he has been fairly short on inventory space, so maybe that's two.
Yeah, Sunstrike taking out that creep there, poor guy.
Tome of Knowledge not being purchased, guys.
Oh no.
It hurts my support so. Please. Free
Old
EXP.
habits die hard, Lumi. It's like you got to set the egg timer outside of the game to remember your Tomes of Knowledge.
Yeah. Every 10 minutes, you just look up. It's like checking Rune, you know, every 2 minutes. Like one of those things you remember now.
Yeah, that's true. Ooh, ROTK looking for an initiation here onto Rabbit, but does fall a little bit short with the blink. And they won't find a kill there. Aegis just about to expire here. Invoker with maybe 10 seconds left. So I think Vici will just go right back to farming.
Yeah, again, the double Midas is really allowing Vici to make the comeback, and CTY is approaching the Wizard territory. Once he picks up the Octarine, I would say that Vici should actually be the one that's looking to push.
I mean, this game's completely even here, Lumi. Based on metrics, it's zeroed out on net worth, so they have certainly farmed their way back from this deficit. As high as like 7,500 earlier in this match. They'll force out a glyph as well as the tier 2. This is where Pugna can just slow siege these towers, and CDEC don't have a lot of options. They either need to initiate right away or just let it go. They do let the tower fall. Super is hasted up right now, looking for initiation, but Vici, they're in hot retreat. Tornado comes flying through, and it looks like they'll be able to make it away scot-free.
This is where you look to your Lich and be like, why aren't you avenged, man? Why don't you do things?
Damn it, Lich. We needed you to swap.
Yeah.
He's picked up a Glimmer Cape, though, so getting his team a get-out-of-jail-free card of his own. Not quite the same ferocity, perhaps, but it's there.
Yeah, with the gem available on the opposing Phoenix, probably is, you know, not as effective, but Shiva's Guard also getting complete on Phoenix. You know, Vici, I think after the item pickup as well as the tier 2, I think they are ahead now.
Yeah. ROTK with his Lotus Orb also has it completed, picks up an invisibility rune. Yao comes in, dooms him. They've got the gem on the Dragon Knight, and this should be a freebie on ROTK. He's left all by his lonesome, and they will punish him for stealing that invisibility rune. Very nice setup there.
I think we are going to see an Abyssal Blade on Yao. Nope, just kidding. It's a value Vanguard. He's going to go into some sort of armor item. I mean, it looks like it's going to be a Lincoln Sphere on Invoker. Recognizing the fact that there is, you know, Hex, Doom, Dragon Tail, yeah, lots of things to block. And in fact, does immediately block the initiation. Ghost Walk, and he will blink out there.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think Lincoln's is definitely warranted here. And he can still go back for the Octarine, replace the drum, and that'll be another good upgrade for him.
It's actually been pretty saving up the drum charges. Normally by this point in the game, you're out.
Yeah.
Got 4 left.
Well, I think some of that speaks to just the way a lot of these fights have gone. CTY is they've either just sort of won the team fight without drums, or he's just been destroyed before he can even react.
Yeah,
there haven't been a lot of those kind of chase type scenarios. Things slowing down a little bit here, Lumi. 35 minutes in. It was a super action-packed early game, and now both sides have kind of retreated to their side of the map, just working on their farm, getting these core items. And now that it's even, it feels like both sides are sort of waiting for the enemy to get hyper-aggressive so they can punish it.
Yep. CDEC continue to look for the pickoff because that's what their lineup is designed to do, and I think they're going to run into a Invoker farming.
Uh-oh. But he has the Lincoln Sphere. Will that be enough? Yeah, they're not even going to go for it.
Scan, got him.
Womp.
Oh, Lion looks like he's running right into the whole team. He's going to get swapped. Can he blink out? No, he can't. He'll force himself out. The sun's going to come through. Lifesteal says, I'm out of here. They're going to keep on chasing. Rabbit rages, and he technically can TP out. Meanwhile, Axe gets a call in the jungle. No, actually, Axe might be in a little bit of trouble himself. Thinks about doing the Chain Frost.
Yep, Super comes in from the bottom side as well. Now they're going to be able to bring down ROTK on the other side of it. The Lifestealer falls. Now the Phoenix Egg comes out. They should have the right clicks to bring it down if they all focus it, and they do. Lich gets credit for that kill. Sylar now with Life Drain on Yao. He'll get Cold Snap. CTY wants to chase him down, and Doom's in big trouble. Sunstrike will be off the mark, but it doesn't matter. They still find the kill. Now the Chain Frost comes out. Bouncing mostly around creeps right now, but still a lot of heroes nearby. Bad luck for the Lich. Not really getting much value out of that. And they're thinking about diving this. Tornado off the mark. Burning, misses with the Scout as well, and Lich will survive.
Well, Vici Gaming wins another team fight despite the egg not going off. I mean, the gem is in the deck, so hopefully somebody picks that one up. They see it. All right, there you go. Curry picks it up. Yeah, even though the egg went off, I mean, there was a lot of physical attack that went to the egg and no one else, right? So.
Yeah. Well, and they also started that fight off with a pick-off, basically. The Lion died before the fight even really started, died with his finger on cooldown, so it was a pretty advantageous situation for Vici from the get-go, kind of a 4v5.
I mean, CDEC, I want to say there's still one good pick-off into Roshan and into winning the game, but oh, actually, never mind. CTY is going to take the Rosh solo by himself.
I think as long as CDEC can get the initiations they're looking for, kind of like the pick-off you're talking about, or even just with all 5 consolidated, they can still win a team fight pretty easily. That last fight, again, like Lion dies without using his finger. Every fight that they've lost, there's been a key spell they haven't been able to use, whether it be Chain Frost, whether it be Doom, or the Lifestealer not being positioned to participate in the fight. If they can get the catch, they certainly still have the tools to take this game.
With that said, though, I think the catch is becoming harder and harder to come by because Venge is so high level already.
That's true.
I mean, sure, you could swap and maybe hex somebody. Or sorry, you could Doom and hex somebody, but the swap is just a free save.
That's a great point.
And the Vici heroes are tanky enough where the team fight is going to get dragged out. So even a Doom person might outlive the Doom and come back and just be another thing that you have to deal with.
Well, Vici in the Roche pit here. CDEC on their way over to try and contest, but they're going to get there too late. Roche goes down. Aegis of the Immortal goes to Invoker, and now they're in an awkward position. They'll hold the high ground. Vici thinking about taking a fight, but ultimately choose to back out. Everyone will disengage, and it'll end up just being an uncontested Roche for the Dire as CTY now moves into his Octarine core.
Yep. Wizard can't deal with him anymore.
What's up, Harry Potter?
Does he have the max level Deafening Blast? I think he's 1 quas point away.
Yes,
because the Aghanim gives them an extra point into all the levels.
Yep, he's almost there.
Buy that Tome of Knowledge, man. No, it looks like it's going down. And at this point, buying Tome actually does very little for a level 21 Invoker.
Yeah, that wouldn't even be. It might be just enough to push him over the edge now, but.
So a 450, right?
Yeah.
It'll be enough.
Oh no.
No.
Yeah, he's got 20. I thought that said 2,000. 2,200. Yeah, so it still wouldn't even be enough.
My 7 p.m. math, man. Just woke up.
Oh boy, yeah. Mjolnir though up on Dragon Knight. Interesting item choice here, but will allow him to clear out creeps pretty quickly and just up his overall damage output.
Fairly good when there's an egg, like proccing your lightnings, essentially every second.
Oh yeah, good point there. Here we go, team fight brewing. Rabbit, the one that gets initiated on, but Super's there to try and counter-initiate. Rabbit getting low, but will be able to survive through it. Hops to infest into a creep. Instead, they focus on the Pugna. CDEC bring him down right quick. The Chain Frost does a lot of damage as now they move into CTY.
Oh my.
The egg goes off, but it just doesn't seem to matter. Lich is the only one that's died on the side of CDEC. CTY comes back because of the Aegis.
trees!
But he's completely stuck. He'll try to TP home. They've got the damage to bring him down. This is likely to be a full team wipe. HYM going to try to TP out as well, and that'll be it. 2 for 5. Really 2 for 6 as they killed the Invoker twice, compliments of the Aegis.
How did they not kill the
fight.
Life Sealer? I mean, they got the call, they got essentially everybody focusing, and the egg was on top. But I guess it was just great counter initiation from DK, right? As soon as his Life Sealer got called, he jumped in, he BKB, Mjolnir showed himself, and it was just outputting damage.
Yeah, I think they were just baiting with that. And as soon as the Life Stealer caught free, he just infested into a creep, healed up a little bit, and then after that, the fight was pretty much over. The Pugna also got completely obliterated. He was not ready to be jumped on so quickly.
Yeah.
And there was very little he could do there. Mid lane of Barracks now going to be under assault, Lumi, and they'll be turned to rubble. Glyph's already been used. Minimal buybacks here for Vici. Venge as well as Pugna will respawn, but they're already on this tier 3 in the bottom lane, and they might be able to get 2 racks out of this.
Or maybe 3. The fact that Invoker has not bowed back for such a long time. No, they're going to just take the safe mid racks, and they're going to back out without the possibility of anybody getting picked off.
All right. So Vici hang on without using any buybacks, but that is pretty costly. The even game is now swung way back in favor of CDEC, and that mid lane will just constantly shove into the Dire.
With that said, though, I do want to say if Vici finds a similar team fight where they wipe the enemy team, they have the lineup to actually get a Rax or 2 very quickly as well with Invoker and Sylar. So I wouldn't count Vici out of the game completely yet, but there's no doubt in my mind that they're definitely in the back foot now.
Yeah, and of course they lost their gem in that fight. All 5 heroes died, so now 2 gems on the side of CDEC. They get even more map control.
All right, let's see if there's any kind of interesting late item pickup here. No one has really out of the ordinary stuff. Well, Phoenix is working on that, working on the
Aghanims.
Aghanims.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder if this interaction works, right? Let's say if you Berserker call somebody with Axe, and then Phoenix dives in and picks up the Axe, whether those heroes still standing there but not attacking anybody because Axe is off the map.
That is a weird. I would imagine
it works.
I think the heroes still try to attack Axe even though they can't. They just kind of stand there and run, and they're still disabled. So I think that interaction is pretty damn good.
Scan missing.
Oh no. Nobody there. Smoke from CDEC though as they rotate through the river here. They pick up an invisibility rune on the Lion, so Q will be able to scout ahead of the team. He has also picked up the Ghost Scepter, Blink, and Force Staff, so he is super survivable at this point, even if they do catch him somehow. I really want to see this Doom transition into an Abyssal Blade, man. I like the way that he's done this with just the early Vanguard for a frontline survivability, and it is going to give him the option to turn into something more aggressive here. Q, does he break the Invis for the Courier? Nope.
Might have been worth it. There was a Mystic Staff on it. And I believe that is a Scythe Advice attempt on Sylar, although it looks like he has it.
There you go. Big item pickup. No buyback available for him, though. 2 big items now on Vici as the Ags comes out for Phoenix. Although Scotty's also now up on the Dragon Knight. So everybody getting these big ticket items at this stage of the game. Looks like CDEC are ready to siege, though. Glimmer Cape used on Dragon Knight. Take a look at Radiant Vision here, and they don't have a hell of a lot of it.
The fact that HYM has an Aghanims and CDEC does not know about it could be absolutely huge.
Yeah, and he's still smoked up here.
All right.
Oh, swap. Yao turned into a piggy straight away, but then in comes super huge damage from the Invoker, but there's a lot of BKB targets. Yao pops his late, still manages to get off the Doom onto the Phoenix before he can use the egg. Yao's actually still going to survive through it. All 5 alive on the side of CDEC, and no buybacks for Vici. That, pardon me, there's one on Axe, but that's a GG territory team fight right there, Lumi. That's harsh.
I mean, I think if I'm CDEC, I forget top racks and just go straight for the throne here.
Yeah. It feels like they probably could. Tornado EMP comes out from the Invoker. Q loses a little bit of mana, but this bottom lane of Barracks is done, and they're going to take the safe play here. They're just going to go top. Buyback now from ROTK. They will try to make this final hold, but it is a 2v5. A tall order here for Vici Gaming. Can ROTK do it? Have faith, Lumi. You got to have faith. You got to believe. Here we go. Berserker's call on 2. CTY trying to follow up with what damage he can, but ROTK is just getting plastered. Well, I wanted to believe, but dreams were shattered here.
Great play by Q. He knows the combo was Axe Call into Invoker stuff. So he just waited the Axe to jump in and then jump onto the Invoker to prevent a good string of spells from coming out. So that will get the GG call here from Vici Gaming. Keep in mind, these are best of 2 series, despite the little pips on the top.
Yep.
So, I mean, nobody's eliminated or anything, but CDC feeling pretty good after this game.
Yeah, it's just group stage, so I mean, the pressure's on in every game, though no elimination quite yet. But man, that was a pretty dominant performance. Super ending that game without conceding a single death, 8-0 and 12. Super impressive KDA there.
Yeah, so I mean, what went wrong? I mean, the laning stage obviously didn't go well, but there was that stage of the game where the double Midas were coming back. They got that one good team fight. And then I think Invoker got picked. Somebody got picked off. Oh, no, they initiated with the Axe onto a Lifestealer, and they just could not win that team fight.
Yeah. Those early rotations from ROTK just didn't work out. I mean, the Axe got slowed down, it seemed like, at every turn. And that was such a bottleneck for Vici. So much of the lineup was relying on having that initiator. I feel like if he had snowballed out of control, if he had just free-farmed through the laning stage, that game would have been completely different.
So I think it's not really necessarily on the draft, but more so on the execution of the draft, right?
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head. Lifestealer, probably one of the best melee carries to match up against Axe in the lane. I mean, ranged heroes, of course, are a whole nother world, but in terms of melee, Lifestealer was super manly. He was not afraid to trade right clicks, and ROTK was forced on the defensive.
I think more so, the one thing I never really touched on, and it made a lot of sense, is that open wounds allow your team to lifesteal. And the fact that when Blade Mail's turned on, normally you're like, oh, I'm killing myself. But now with open wounds, you're kind of at parity. You're taking damage, but obviously you're healing yourself.
It mitigates a lot of it.
So maybe that's another reason why Lifestealer is so good against the Blade Mail Axe. So
yeah, makes sense.
Hey, we are all learning a lot here.
Hey, it's a new patch, new changes, lots to learn. That's one of my favorite parts about casting, right when a new patch comes out. So, all right, folks, we're going to have a break. And then coming up, game number 2 of CDEC versus Vici. We'll see if it's going to be a 1-1 draw or if CDEC can take it 2-0. Stick around because we're coming right back after this.